Callaway's new irons are out. Let's do a review. Welcome back to the golf fitting room. Jim McCleary here, and we are going to do the 4-4 Callaway Rougue ST irons. All right, it used to be called Rougue ST now, speed tuned. All right. Callaway makes no bones about trying to help the average golfer. However, they are starting to climb into that better golfer range as well. So there is a wide range of heads that we're going to have to talk about. So let's start with, there is the Rougue St Max OS. There is the Rougue St Max OS LITE. There is the Rougue Max, and then there's the Rougue Max ST Pro, right? Rougue ST, and then whatever we're going to do with it, okay? So now what is it? They all sport the AI cup face. Now what is a cup face? Well, what that is, it's a face that's been designed that's very much in that same, in that shape, and it goes onto the club like that, and then it connects all the way around in here, making it very, very forgiving here, all right? Even on the off center, is it exact? No, but it is very, very close. That's the idea of the AI design. They all support what is called a 450 steel. In my mind, what that means is that it's probably a little firmer steel so that you get a faster rebound, and hence the ball speed goes up, because they're always in the hunt for ball speed, okay? Then next, what do we do? Then next, it's the amount of tungsten that they add, all right? The tungsten is being added into the toe. In most cases, it'll be right here, all right? Right into the toe area. And why is that? Because a lot of these clubs are draw bias. And with that weight on the end is going to slow you down so you don't overcook it. Also, it gives you a weight that's out on the toe, so you have this little bit of, we'll call it a lighter head. However, with the weight out there on the toe, it still gives it a very heavy feel. So you can create higher club speed, higher ball speed. You get where I'm going. Okay. In the Max, you're going to have 60 plus grams of tungsten. In the Max OS and the Pro, it's going to be between 40 and 49 grams of tungsten. And in the LITE model, it'll have around 46 grams of tungsten, all placed into the toe area. All right, now surrounding this tungsten, so it doesn't feel clunky, is their urethane microspheres. Now what is that? Well, it's basically urethane that has these little, we'll call them microspheres in them to create holes, and basically it gives you a softer feel where all that's laying across the bottom of the club. Now, all that combined into what you'll see in the Max OS, wider, and then into the Pro, a little more narrower soles. All right, so what is all this looking at? So in your Max club, it's going to be a distance club. When they mean Max, they're not kidding, okay? It's very, very strong. It's going to have an additional wedge in it because it is so strong. The 7 iron is going to be crazy strong for those guys looking for distance, okay? If you're that guy looking for distance, this is the club for you. The Max OS, on the other hand, is a club that's bigger, right, and will have probably a little bit less offset and a little bit weaker loft, now not by a lot, but some, and be easier to hit. The LITE model, which they're touting as their highest launching club of all of them, is because it's weaker still, okay? It's just weaker still. And with the weaker loft, meaning more, that it's going to shoot up in the air. I mean, that goes without saying. So we're going to see, when we go to do testing, we ought to see some significant distance differences. And then in the Pro model is it's a hollow body club that is been made into the shape of a blade. Still workable, but you still get that rebound, right? You're still going to get that rebound off the club, and they are a little bit stronger club as well. So we ought to see some pretty neat stuff when we hit these. Now that we've talked a little bit about the head, and you're seeing all the graphics. Now that we've seen all the heads, we need to know what the transmissions of all these clubs are going to be. Notice I say not engines, but transmission. You are the engine. So starting from the light or the bottom end, they are going to, bottom end being lighter, they're going to have the cipher, all right? The cipher is going to come in a 60-gram iron shaft. It's going to regular flex and lighter, okay? It's going to come with their standard issue Callaway grip that has little star patterns on it and little textured areas so you know where to put your hands. We're going to have two Tensai editions, all right? The Tensais are either going to come in a blue or a white. White on top, blue on the bottom. All right, and so what's the difference? Other than the weights, the blue is supposed to be the mid-high, right, flight, and the white is to be the lower flight. And that's true with the driver stuff. So the Tensai has been very much accepted in the driver in the blue. A lot of people like that. It gives them that mid or higher kick point depending where they're at, where the white is for the slightly more aggressive, lower ball flighty guy that is going to, get a little bit smaller shot shape probably. That's where we're going to go with that. And then finally, for all you guys that can't stand graphite, this is new. Caught me by surprise, didn't see this one coming. Callaway and rifle, right? Rifle, Project X rifle. Now this is not I don't see this being the Project X, but I see this being the rifle. This is a tour flighted rifle shaft. Now, back in the day, I was an advanced, I guess I still am, a advanced certified rifle center. And we used to make tour flighted here. We just did it. And I really like the rifle shaft because it gave you a softer flight, a softer pattern, as opposed to what was being produced in the day. And nowadays, what we're seeing is shafts that are in the 105 to 110 range are where most golfers will go. Even better golfers will go there, that they're finding that these clubs are maybe just too heavy. I like this 105. I play 105s in my current set. This has me very much excited about seeing how this is going to perform, because the tour flighted is specific. The top end is to get the ball more, we'll call it more penetrating, right? More penetrating, and give you that ball flight that you would like to see off of a lower iron. Not a very slow screamer, but a good flight off the top. Where the bottom end is going to be a little bit more controlled. Yes, it's going to get up in the air, but it's going to be a little bit more controlled flight for a wedge. I don't see anything wrong with these shafts, okay? I don't see anything wrong with them at all. Now, here's that was the real quick and dirty. Now, you guys know that I go through this and I measure everything, right? Everything. So what was the difference? Now, what I did is I put the lightest shaft in the light. I guess we can do that. And then the next heaviest in the Max OS, and then the next heaviest in the Max, and then the steel shaft in the Pro. So we're going to see a lot of that, right? So what did we see? All the lengths were 37. That's +1 for you, Callaway. Now, in the light category, the spec is to be 31.5 degree loft and a 62.5 degree lie angle and a D0 swing weight. So what did I find? I found a 61 degree lie angle with a 32 degree loft and a D0 swing weight. So lie angle was a little flat. That's basically all it was. I can deal with a little flat. I'm okay with that one, but the loft angles need to be very, very close, in which case they are. Swing weights are right where they say they are for graphite, so we're good there. So now the Max OS, right? The Max OS. So what did I find? I found out they're 37, just like we said. We found out that they were 61, again a little flat, and right at 29. So a half a degree, that could be my measurement. I'm still okay with that. A little flat, good swing weight, good length. So we're right there. So the Max is supposed to be the 37, 62 and a half, and 27 and a half degrees. 27 and a half. Think about that number, guys and gals. 27 and a half and D0. So what did I find? Again, 37, D0, that seems to be a good constant right there. I found, again, 61, and I found a degree weaker, which seems to be a thing. That must be my measuring. All right. So we're really close on the loft, but we're a little bit flat. I don't see that being a big deal, but I can always bend them. Swing weights and the lofts are right on. I like that. And then what caught me off guard was the flexes. Now, flex is all based on, in this particular case, when you grab a shaft here and you twang it over here. And so we're, a lot of argument on what is flex. Now, I will say that the cipher really surprised me in a regular flex, that it came out firm. Now, all that means is that it's butt firm, and the rest of it's probably very tip friendly. Where I found that the Tensai was a little bit more butt soft and maybe a little more tip firm. I don't see a problem with that. That's just a different feel. So when you guys go to get fit and it doesn't feel that great to you, ask for a different shaft. Or the fitter should see what's going on and transfer you over into a different shaft. Because the three graphites that they got is a wide spectrum that they offer, and that's a good thing. You got, you have the good, better, best, or tall, medium, large, whatever you want to call it, but three significantly different ones instead of a whole bunch of very, different sizes or colors or whatever. These are important. And then the steel offering is way out there, and that's another good thing. So we're pretty close loft and lies. We're seeing that they're pretty strong. They're a little bit flat. Everything else is doing pretty good. Now that all that's left is, let's go hit them and let's talk about them. I really thought it proper that we'll hit Callaway golf balls. So I have mostly Callaway Chrome Softs and then some of the Chrome Soft XLSs. With the orange ones being the Super Soft, we'll figure what that one feels like. We'll get warmed up with those first just to see. So we're going to start off with the Rouge Max OS LITE. Again, we said this was the highest launching iron of the four. Why? Because it's the weakest. It's not that it's a light club, but it is a higher launching club. All right, so once we get it behind the ball, there is a modicum of offset. I would say that it's in the mid to high, if nothing more. We're using the Cypher 60 gram shaft in their regular flex, but again, what I told you is I found it to be right in the middle of the regular range, so it was really, it's exactly as what we said as prescribed. So let's see what this is going to do. 160 yard 7-iron right off the bat. Now that one felt pretty good. You could always, when they talk about these big clubs, you always wonder if you're going to lose a lot of feel, right? They always talk about the feel of the golf club. You can tell if you've hit a bad one. You can also tell when you've hit a good one. All right, well, I seem to be fine in the middle of the fairway. That's always a good. I thought maybe with all this offset, I'd be finding the right side. .170. .168, .169. So not too bad, not too bad at all. I tend to like it. It's giving me a good smash factor. This means I'm getting good ball speed. 84 mile an hour with a 7. That's not bad either. There's 170. Let's try a different one. All right, next up is the Rougue St Max OS. This one has the Tensai blue. It's a 75-gram S-Flex shaft. This is the one I think you're going to see, this one, between this one and the Max, that Rougue St Max with the other shaft in it, probably be the two biggest ones for the company, but we'll see. Now keep in mind this one is a very strong lofted club and a 175 shot with a 7-iron. I am capable of that. That was way easy. Let's see if we can get a little bit more. And we just did. 180-yard 7-iron. For those of us that are mere mortals and not those guys that hit 320-yard bombs off of drivers, that's pretty impressive. 86 yards. It feels good though. Well, I hear a click in it, but no different than any other time. .184. 184-yard 7-iron. I'm getting up into 6-iron range now for most 6-irons. That one felt good. I just got through that one. You could feel it was just middle of the club face. That was a really nice shot. Very smooth. .185 again. I'm finding the middle of the club face or the fairway. When you do these things with all these offsets, you have this ginormous fear that it's going to go screaming to your inside. So far, that's not the case. So the weighting of that weight that's way out on the toe is doing its job by slowing the face down. I like that. But so far, the landing area, the really surprising part is the consistency. The Tensai is really coming through. Even when I miss it and I'm striking in the bad places, the forgiveness is very, very pronounced. There's one. 190 with a 7-iron. Now I had to pull on that one a little bit, but jumped up to 91. One more. There's that 180 again. I'm telling you what, there's nothing wrong with this club. I think a lot of people could play this thing. All right, our third club is the Rougue Max. This is the one that they think a lot of people will get into. This is the strong one. The other one was the OS, and we got it out there pretty good in comparison to the OS LITE. Now we've put the Tensai White, which is supposed to be the lower hitting. So with the lower loft, the lower hitting, it'll be really interesting to see what kind of ball flights that we see. Now what I do see, I feel noticeably that I feel a little bit more head feel in this one than I did the other ones. And it's got a bit of a different grip. It feels, this is that the Tour Velvet grip versus the stock Callaway style grip. See what happens here. .190 out of the box. All right, that was a roller. You can tell it's a little low. Let's see what we can do again. Here we go, 183, 184. These are fairly easy swings too. I'm not really pounding it real hard. It's just coming through. It's just easy to swing. Almost 190. Down the groove. And that's the other thing, when you're hitting these shorter irons, which can be considered a shorter iron, it used to be considered a shorter iron. It's probably a mid-iron now. In order to be able to keep them in the middle of the fairway, another huge positive. Another 190. So we're seeing a significant uptick, and we know it's stronger, right? But the thing is, this thing actually has a very solid feel, where the other ones had a little bit of a click to them maybe. This one feels just a little more oomph in it. There we go. All right, the Pro model. Of course, it's the blade looking hollow body with a heavier shaft. I'm kind of interested to see how this rifle is going to react, because we haven't seen too much from Project X or rifle in the way of a shaft that looked like this. This is very, very reminiscent of the original rifle, not the Project X, of which I really liked. So we'll see how this one works out. Again, heavier because it is. A lot less offset, sets really well behind the ball. Well, I'll take that all day. Right down to groove, it felt pretty good. I thought I got through it pretty decent. A little over mid-80s, good smash, and about where I thought I would see a 7-iron go. Let's see if we can't make that happen again. Felt just nice and soft. About a 180 shot. Bit of a pull. I tried to get in on that one a little bit. Let's see if we can't put that one back. There we go. Down the middle again. This thing, so far these things are fairway finders. That's a good thing, or even flag finders. That one was hit. There we go, 180. Woo! Now the cool thing about this is that what we're seeing is, you know, when you get to these clubs, you think, wow, they're not going to be very feely, right? Is that a term, feely? Well, you're not going to be able to feel when you miss strike or hit strike, and that's totally not the case, not with any of these so far. You know, and I think in here, when you see a blade, it's like, oh yeah, you're going to know all that, and it's true. However, when you get to hollow body, it tends to mute some stuff. So, not so far, right? And I'm really liking the feel of this shaft. All right, let's see what we can do. A couple more. Another good one. Boy, oh boy, I'm liking this. I know it's not mad at TXG, but by golly, I'm thinking I could really tear up a golf course with these things. I jumped on that one just to see where it would go, and it went. All right, that was a ton of fun. It's not often that things work out as they plan. Normally I find some kind of outlier, right? Now we did find that the lie angles are a little bit off, but for me that's okay. Now what happened? Well, the Max showed up the way it was supposed to. The Max OS came in second, the Pro came in third, and the Lite came in fourth. Purely from a distance perspective, right? Distance perspective. That's what we were looking at, in that we knew that that was strongest to weakest, and that was the way it was going to be. The real surprise was the shaft combinations, right? The shaft combinations, because the Max and the OS both have a lot of offset and a wider sole. And I thought certainly I was going to be bringing it to the inside quite a bit, and that just did not happen, which is a good thing. And the Pro model actually went the other way, and yes, I tugged one pretty good, but that's just what that's what happens. So what did we find out? They all feel pretty good. As the club was wider, I thought it had a little bit more clacky to it, but you could still feel when you were towed or into the center. The Max was a little bit nicer, it was a little bit smaller in my opinion, and we're talking millimeters, but it felt a little bit more solid. It gave exactly what was going to happen. The Pro was a much more feedback, and all of this is by design. All of it is by design. Now, the other surprise were the shaft options, all right? We talk about the shaft options. We have the cipher at the one end for high, we have a tenside blue in the middle, we have the white for a little bit lower, and then we have the rifle for the stronger golfers. And it's normally these are really compact in their abilities, right? These are actually a little bit wider, which is a better thing. So you can see, it's visually different. They will be visually different when they fly. I like that, right? And so the surprise was the cipher. I think it's a very stable shaft. It's not wobbly at any shape or imagination. The tenside blue felt very, very good when you were hitting it. Very, very soft, actually, and it still got through the ball. The white did exactly what it said it was going to do. It kept the ball flight down, felt very stable. And the rifle, which I was really kind of hoping was going to work, did. Right? 105, 110 are just the sweet spots anymore for most golfers to swing from. and they all worked. They all worked. I found the middle. Now again, we're talking 7 irons, right? It used to be considered a short iron, which is more closely related to a mid iron now, but it's a shorter mid iron, which means you should be able to control these. Now, as we talked earlier, the Max OS, and the Lite will all have 3 or 4 wedges, and you have a pitch, a gap, and a tack, and then go into a sand, where the Pro will only have the pitch and the attack. So, and that's because of the stronger lofts. Okay. So who are these for? Who are these for? Well, just like we all think, we think a Max is probably going to be in most bags. It's a very strong club. It's a very solid club. It goes exactly where it's pointed. Now, what's helping here is the reason why I'm not hooking them is that tungsten on the toe wasn't allowing me to shut right down. So all you guys are afraid to overcook it, don't be. Don't be. The OS might be the surprise here. Way more forgiving, still going to get it out there. For guys who don't want to mash it way out there, that might be the way you want to go. The Lite, right, and they say, well, why do you have such a weak lofted club? Well, for you guys to hit the ball low, chances are what's happening is that you're hooding the club pretty hard, you're coming down on it. So what they're doing is they're giving you more loft with that same amount of forgiveness, and so that you can get the ball up in the air and still have this good ball flight. Now the Pro, again, hollow body, blade, it was all the things you wanted to see in the world of blades. It did provide feedback, does have low offset, good little club. Now the elephant in the room, they're all strong, the ball flight. Because the lofts are lower, the spin rate comes down. In today's golf clubs, I think that's going to be a standard. It used to be 1,000 RPM for whatever the number was. So I should be seeing 7,000 for these. I was seeing between 56 and 6,000, which I think is going to become a standard now because it's coming in higher, but it's spinning less. So we're dropping in. That's what's going to happen. So don't get wrapped around the axle as long as you're stopping it on the green. That's really the trick. Also, go get fit, right? These clubs are things that should be in your bag for quite some time. Go get fit to make sure you've got exactly what it is that you need. From the shaft, the head, lofts, the lie, the flexes, the weights, the whole 9 yards. Go get checked, right? Go get checked. Now, we have a live stream that we do on Mondays. It's at 17:30 or 5:30 p.m. It's on YouTube or Facebook on the McGolf page. Come join us and let's talk about some more of this kind of stuff if you like that. We're talking with people from around the world. It would be awesome if you did. Like, subscribe, hit that bell so you get more of these when that happens. Also, you're going to be seeing I think it's over here. Let's see if I'm looking at it. Yep, it's over here. There's going to be a little McGolf symbol. That's for subscribing. Do that if you would. And then down over here is going to be another square video for another video that YouTube thinks that you would like that's on my channel. Go ahead and take a look if you would. And as always, guys, let's see your scores go low.